Janine from Sigma. We are here today with Dr. Franklin Cachia, the head of legal of BDO. How are you, Franklin?
I'm very well, thank you.
Amazing. I'm very excited to have a conversation with you about the iGaming industry, specifically about AI. So let's dive right in. How does the risk-based certification of AI systems impact the types of AI technologies that gaming companies can use and can't use?
So basically, just for our listeners, there's going to be a bit of a revolution within Europe when it comes to AI.
Definitely.
Mostly because of a harmonized legislation, also known as the AI Act. So certain service providers, like the most common is, for example, DeepSeek or ChatGPT, they are direct service providers. So those need to really comply with the legislation if they're offering their services within the EU. However, gaming companies may, as an ancillary service or as an ancillary tool, use AI. For example, for face recognition
Yes.
or certain HR tools within the company, for example. If you have a player, for example, AI can either collect data or trends of certain behaviors of the player.
Okay, interesting.
Or else, for example, it can understand certain patterns of the player, which can be used either to monetize on that pattern. So over there, gaming companies will be looking at the financial side, so using AI to generate more revenue.
Okay.
Or else it can also be used to for responsible gaming. So if they see that a player is overspending, apart from the responsible gaming rules, AI may, through a sort of monitoring of the players,
And flag it.
flag it and raise it,
Okay,
which
wow.
is good. But those kind of AI tools would require the gaming operator to do a risk assessment.
Definitely.
And then, of course, depending on the risk band, so if you're looking at certain like face biometrics, that's a high risk.
Yes.
So in that case, you'd need to do sort of an enhanced risk assessment for the use of AI within the gaming operation.
Okay, let's dive a bit more into this. So, for example, which AI applications in gaming are likely to be considered high risk? I mean, obviously under the new regulations, that's through the AI Act. And what would additional compliance measures would they require for them then to be approved to be used within the iGaming industry?
So I've already sort of touched upon this during the first question. So the face recognition and face biometric is considered high risk.
Exactly.
Why? Because face and voice can be easily manipulated by AI. We have already seen scams whereby they replicate the face of someone and the voice of someone and ask for funding for a particular investment.
Wow.
Fraudulently. And this kind of sort of AI use is obviously high risk. That is why it's been classified as high risk. And sort of what needs to be done is that there is a code of practice, a universal code of practice, which is being drafted together with the AI Act.
Amazing.
And you have to comply with that. So, for example, if you will be using AI for face or voice recognition, the customer or the player in this part in the gaming industry would need to know about that and would need to consent for the use of AI.
Okay.
Otherwise, if it's prohibited, then the operator can use other means of customer due diligence rather than face recognition, but there needs to be specific consent to use AI for these kind of services.
Okay.
So mostly the high risk we're talking about is those which can be easily manipulated for fraudulent means. As I said, face recognition, because AI can create replicate a face and also can replicate a voice.
Okay, amazing. And how will the EU's governance structure ensure that gaming companies adhere to these AI regulations without stifling the innovation in that sector?
Yes. So, as is typical of the European Commission fashion and the European Union, they don't just create a law or a particular act, but then they create offices.
Okay.
So there's going to be, and I have to look at my notes because I don't know them by heart.
Fair enough.
So there's the EU AI Office, which
Wow.
comprises of the European AI Board,
Okay.
the Scientific Panel, and the Advisory Forum. All of this is creating the EU digital strategy. So with these bodies, so one the European AI Board would be a board to recommend legislators, the European Parliament and the European Commission to improve AI legislation. The scientific panel is a test environment.
Okay.
A test panel, well, once again, there will be recommendations and negotiations and dialogue between the various AI boards being created and the advisory forum for advice, really and truly, especially to gather advice from stakeholders, AI service providers. So really and truly, this is the whole body within the European Union.
Wow.
There will also be an AI regulatory sandbox.
Okay.
So for new AI, startup AI service providers who want to be semi-regulated, there is this regulatory sandbox. So it's a sort of light touch regulatory regime for startups who want to start offering AI as a service against payment.
Okay, so a lot of changes within the AI sector are coming.
Yes, there are, but of course, sort of no alarms, because usually this takes around 5 to 10 years to be fully
Definitely.
implemented. But of course, we always recommend for service providers and also gaming operators using AI to start getting abreast or at least draft some kind of code and internal code for the use of AI.
Definitely. Amazing. And what practical steps can gaming companies take today to align their AI development roadmap with the EU AI Act?
So basically, what I would recommend, and I would say the most practical matters, is drafting the code of practice for the use of AI. And there is already a model issued by the European Union and the European
Okay.
Commission for industry participants to use that code of practice, which basically outlines how AI may be used in an ethical manner. Another one is to make an inventory, and the practical approach to get compliant with the AI Act is to make an inventory of possible use of AI, which an industry, gaming operator is already using or is intended to use. So
Okay,
you make an
interesting.
inventory and you can also make a risk classification. So you can start classifying, okay, so I'm using AI, for example, to draft contracts. And for example, you can say only internal contracts, internal agreements, or I'm using AI to draft policy. So over there, the risk classification can be safely say that it can be classified as low risk of AI, but then you just need to sort of, okay, what AI am I using? Am I using Copilot? Am I using DeepSeek or ChatGPT? So all those sort of, you just make an inventory of the types of AI you're using. And we're already noticing that regulators in Malta, okay, the Malta Gaming Authority and also the Malta Financial Services Authority,
Okay.
they are already issuing surveys to industry license holders on what AI they're using. So the regulators are already collecting data from industry players as to the
amazing.
use of AI.
Wow.
So Malta's, I think it's already like
We're
moving
advanced.
forward around this.
That's amazing. And
Yep.
through AI, I think it's a lot of trial and error, but the future looks bright and the future
Yeah.
looks very interesting.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you, Dr. Franklin, for sitting with us. This has been Dr. Franklin Cachia at Sigma Media Lounge.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.